10 years ago, Burlacker walks in my office and he's like, "You're fired." September of 2015, I buy the Gallardo. But I was working to leverage the Gallardo to build the YouTube channel, and it was working. Fast forward, April Fool's Day 2016, Burlacker walks in my office. Company's bankrupt. Nick, of course, my ex-boss, who's now my buddy, he had an extra bedroom. And so Nick, I cannot thank you enough for that support. Without that, I definitely would not be here.
2 years ago, James Stradman uploaded a video called "Selling My Koenigsegg for This," and nobody took it seriously, including probably him. He was in Dubai comparing his Agera HH to a Jesco, casually floating the idea of a swap. It felt like one of those what-if videos you make when things are going well and you're just thinking out loud, but that what-if didn't stay a moment. What followed was a whole series. First came the video announcing the sale, then another where the car was still sitting there, unsold, then one where he sent it off to Florida on consignment, and then finally, months later, the one where it was actually gone. 4 separate videos just to sell one car. And the reason it stretched out that long is where the real story begins, because owning that car was costing him more than most people realized, and it came closer to becoming a serious problem than he probably expected when he first bought it. If you followed James Stradman for a while, you already know how this started. He didn't come from money. He was just into cars and mostly experienced them from a distance, watching videos and hoping to be around them one day. When he started his channel, it was simple. Basic setup, average lighting, and he filmed whatever cars he could get access to. As the channel grew, the cars changed too. He moved from filming random cars to owning and selling higher-end ones, including Lamborghinis, a Bugatti Veyron, and a Hummer EV. You could see his progress through the cars he had at each stage, and naturally, his goals started getting bigger as well. At one point, he said that by 35, he wanted to own a Koenigsegg. Not something more common like a Ferrari or a McLaren, but a Koenigsegg. That's a very specific goal and also a very expensive one, so it wasn't something most people expected to actually happen. But by late 2023, it started to feel like he was getting close to it. That's where things start to shift. The car he ended up choosing wasn't just any Koenigsegg, it was the Agera HH, and this one had a story behind it. Its chassis, number 7099, which makes it one of the earlier cars Koenigsegg ever built, and it's an Agera S, a model that only exists in a handful of units worldwide.
The Koenigsegg Agera HH, the same car I filmed 8 years ago in Las Vegas on the Gumball 3000, the same car Lewis Hamilton drove, the same car we jump-started with my Audi TT.
It's also the only one of its kind in the United States, which already makes it a very different kind of purchase compared to something like a Ferrari or a McLaren. The HH comes from its original owner, David Heinemeier Hansen. After that, the car didn't really stay in the spotlight for a while. It was kept in storage for years before it showed up again, this time with Houston Crosta, who runs Royalty Exotic Cars in Las Vegas and has his own YouTube presence.
We just hit 9,000 miles on the Agera. I'm telling you, highest mileage Agera yet.
He didn't treat it like a garage piece either. He drove it properly, took it to events like Monterey Car Week, made changes to it, and actually put miles on it. By the middle of 2023, the car was back on the market. Around the same time, Stradman was looking for something to replace his Bugatti Veyron. He was considering the usual options at that level, cars like the McLaren P1, Ferrari LaFerrari, and even the Bugatti Chiron. But instead of going with something more predictable, he chose the Agera HH. Then, in late December 2023, he finally revealed it. Bright pink wrap, parked and filmed like a proper moment. The reaction was immediate. People were excited, confused, shocked, all at the same time. It felt like one of those big turning points for the channel, like he had stepped into a completely different level. At that point, it looked like everything had worked out exactly the way he had planned. What wasn't clear yet was what owning a car like that was actually going to involve. A few days later, things took a different turn. James posted another video, and the title said everything: the massive financial consequence of my Koenigsegg. He didn't hold anything back in it. He explained how the deal was structured and what it actually meant month to month. The number he shared caught a lot of people off guard. His monthly payment was $35,646. In another video that went up on both YouTube and TikTok, he admitted something else too. He said he wasn't fully in a position to just buy the car outright, but he also didn't want to let the opportunity go. For him, it was one of those moments where you either take the shot or you don't. Now just sit with that number for a second, $35,646 every month. That's not a normal car payment, and it's not even comparable to a typical house mortgage. It's on a completely different level. He even joked about it on TikTok, saying that his yearly salary from his first job after college was lower than what he now pays every single month for the car. People reacted the way you'd expect. Some found it entertaining, some were impressed, and a lot were just surprised by how big that number actually was. But once the initial reaction settled, a quieter question started coming up. Can he really sustain this? The way the deal was set up is also important to understand. The car wasn't purchased outright, it was structured as a lease, mainly for tax reasons, which is something people at that level often do with high-value assets. There's nothing unusual about that on its own, but it changes how ownership feels. With a lease like that, the cost doesn't sit in the background. It shows up every single month and it doesn't stop. There's no option to just hold on to the car and wait for its value to go up. The payments are fixed and they keep coming, whether the car is driven or not. And that's where things started to feel different, because at that point it wasn't just about owning a Koenigsegg anymore. It was about keeping up with what it actually takes to hold on to it. For a while, it really did feel like everything was working. There were road trips, collabs with other creators, and videos that pulled in millions of views. The pink-wrapped Koenigsegg became the center of the channel, and it looked like this was the start of a whole new phase for James Stradman. Then, the tone changed. A video showed up with the title, "The Sad Reality of Koenigsegg Ownership." And then, "My Koenigsegg Agera broke and needs fixed." That shift was hard to ignore. What started as a dream build suddenly felt a lot more uncertain. The car had developed mechanical issues, and the biggest one people kept talking about was a misfire.
I don't know exactly where I'm going. The car is just misfiring like crazy. Oh my gosh.
It got to a point where the Agera was being towed away, and that moment spread quickly online.
Well, that is one sad Koenigsegg right there, but I do gotta admit, that Monterey blue is just glistening though.
Seeing a car like that on a flatbed felt strange, almost like something wasn't supposed to go wrong at that level. Clips of it were all over TikTok, and the reaction was mixed. Some people were genuinely worried, while others leaned into jokes, which is usually how the internet handles things like this. While all of that was happening, the car was sent to Los Angeles for repairs. Around the same time James sold one of his Lamborghinis, that's when people started connecting dots. There were rumors that he might be preparing to let the Koenigsegg go as well. He addressed it directly and said the Lamborghini sale was just a financial decision, not related to the Agera.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Officially, we say bye to the 1987, the triple white Lamborghini Countach. I'm not crying. Sophie's crying.
I'm crying. I'm gonna cry myself to sleep.
At that point, most people took his word for it, and honestly, a lot of them wanted to, because no one really wanted to see this part of the story come to an end. But even then, it was clear that things weren't as smooth as they looked at the beginning. This is the point where the whole idea that Koenigsegg almost ruined Stradman really starts to come together, and it's not something pulled out of nowhere. It mostly comes from what James Stradman himself shared over time. If you look at the situation in a practical way, the numbers were heavy from the start. The lease alone was close to $36,000 every month. Then the car started having issues and spent long periods in the shop. During that time, the payments didn't stop. He was still paying for a car he couldn't drive, couldn't film, and couldn't really use for content. And when it came back, it wasn't always in perfect shape. Fixing something like a Koenigsegg isn't simple either. It's not something you sort out locally. Parts, service, and transport all add up quickly. At the same time, there was pressure from the content side. For a while, the car had become a big part of his channel. A lot of the videos were built around it, so when the car wasn't available, it affected what he could post and how the channel performed. That's the part people don't always see. On the surface, it looks like owning a hypercar and making content around it is straightforward. But in reality, the car becomes part of the business. If the car is sitting in a shop in Los Angeles for weeks, the content slows down too. A lot of viewers started doing the math themselves. At around $35,646 per month, even something like a year and a half of payments crosses well over $600,000, and that's before adding repairs, insurance, storage, and everything else that comes with a car at that level. At the same time, there was another side to it. Some fans pointed out what the car meant to him. It wasn't just another vehicle, it represented how far he had come, and for that reason, people wanted him to keep it if it still made him happy. Others were more direct and questioned whether it made sense financially. That gap between what the car meant emotionally and what it was costing in reality is what made people pay attention to the situation so closely. Before officially putting the car up for sale, James Stradman looked at other options. He sat down with Damon Fryer and Dave Coulter from Daily Driven Exotics and discussed a deal that was a mix of business and content. The idea was simple in theory. He would take their Quadricorse Lamborghini and their manual Murcielago, and in return, they would take over the Koenigsegg along with the monthly payments,
Koenigsegg? Manual Mercy Swap? And you didn't know
You take over the payments?
right?
Wait, that's all it is.
No
I'll
payment?
take both cars.
As a
You
deposit.
guys just take over the payments.
By that point, he had already made about 19 of those payments. They didn't dismiss it either. Both of them were clearly interested, and they even said the Agera was still one of the few cars on their list that they hadn't experienced yet. So for a moment, it actually looked like something might come out of it. But once they got into the details, things became more complicated. Insurance and import issues started getting in the way, and those aren't small problems when you're dealing with a car at that level. In the end, the deal didn't go through. The Agera stayed where it was, and Damon and Dave moved on without it. That left James in the same position again. He still had the car, he still liked what it represented, but the monthly payment was still there, and the decision around it wasn't getting any easier. By mid-2025, the decision that had been building for months started to look final, but if you were following closely, the journey of the actual sale of the Koenigsegg wasn't ending all that smoothly. Around 2 years ago, he uploaded a video titled, "Selling My Koenigsegg for This," and the reaction was immediate, but the video wasn't really about selling his Agera. He was just comparing the Agera with the Jesko and considering swapping one for the other. But who knew back then that he would actually end up uploading another video called "Selling My $3 million Koenigsegg" in 2025. Some people were surprised, some expected it, and a lot of fans were just disappointed to see that era coming to an end. He listed the Koenigsegg Agera HH for around $3.1 million, and you could tell he wasn't completely at peace with it. There was a mix of attachment and practicality in how he talked about it. But then, the timeline stretched. Even after announcing the sale, the car didn't go anywhere. In the months that followed, he was still driving it, still filming with it, and still mentioning that it hadn't sold yet. At one point, he even sent it to Florida on consignment to speed things up, while making it clear the deal still wasn't done, and there was a chance it could come back. The car was also listed through DuPont Registry, where it was positioned as something you don't usually see come up for sale. With only a handful of Agera S models ever made, and this being the only one in the United States, it was framed as a rare opportunity for collectors rather than just another listing. Then in early 2026, it finally happened. He confirmed the car was officially sold. The payment was received, the new owner locked in, and the Koenigsegg stayed in Florida. After multiple videos, delays, and updates, it had finally closed. Looking back, James himself admitted it wasn't a smooth experience. There were good moments, but also a lot of stress that came with it. Letting the car go changed things almost immediately. It freed up a significant amount of money every month, and that gave him room to focus on other projects without that constant pressure in the background. In a way, the Koenigsegg chapter didn't just end. It slowly played out, and when it finally closed, it reset everything for him. The Agera HH is with a new owner now, and James Stradman hasn't slowed down. He's still buying cars, still making content, and still growing his brand. If anything, the Koenigsegg chapter brought him closer to his audience, because it was one of the few times things didn't go smoothly, and he showed all of it. The idea that Koenigsegg almost ruined him isn't really about the car or the company. It's about what happens when you reach that top-level dream a bit early, and it turns out to be harder to carry than expected. A $35,000 monthly payment on a car that isn't always running the way it should changes how that dream feels. If you look at what people are saying now, most of them are actually glad he went for it. They respect that he chased it and stayed open about the difficult parts. And more than anything, they're curious about what he does next. The Koenigsegg didn't ruin him, but it came close enough to make this one of the most interesting parts of his journey. Tuna No Crust, signing off.